All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's Tipple's virtual wine tasting with Elizabeth and Jeff Beaudre, the owners of Tipple's Brews and Wines in Gainesville, Florida. This week, we're going to be enjoying the Chateau de Rouanne Vinsobres Rouge. Sounds so good, right?
It does sound good, yes.
It's a red blend from a sub-appellation within Southern Rhone.
Okay.
Right. So we'll talk more about what all that means when we get into it.
Okay.
As we get there. So
All right.
as we begin to pour a glass for ourselves or for someone that we at least are okay enough with them to be in the room with you.
I mean,
Will you pull up the
that's a
first
big
slide?
deal since 2020. Are you okay with them sitting this close to you?
Well, that is
You
has
know.
become more important.
It has.
Hasn't it?
Here we go.
All right, so here we go. Ratings in this guy's got some heavy hitters. Wine Enthusiast 93, Wine Spectator 92, well-regarded sources. Not the end all be all and not necessarily what you will decide, but it's a great start as a point of reference. Food pairings. So you've got a combination of this can be almost as robust as you want it to go with, and yet it can also lighten up a little bit.
Okay.
So food pairings, ratatouille,
Mhm.
lamb stew, veggie and black bean enchilada, and smoked ostrich sausages as one has regularly.
Yeah, just pick that up at Publix.
Yep, just go grab it.
Mhm.
Go for it.
So we have Italian bean soup for my mom that
Right.
has Italian sausage in it.
Right. So I like the spice component of the sausage.
Okay.
Right, and it will be certainly on the lighter side of
Mhm.
what this compare with, but actually not a bad pairing.
Okay.
Yeah, the spiciness will
All
definitely
right.
go with
And
it.
then we have leftover chili from last night.
Right. And the leftover, American red chili is a
Red
bit
chili.
heavy for
Okay.
this wine. So we're kind of at the bottom and the top end
Even
of
though
what we
it's
think.
turkey?
Even with the turkey because of, the red sauce and all the intense spices, but with
Okay.
the turkey closer,
Okay.
right? So I would say we're dealing with kind of the lighter end of the spectrum and the heavier end of the spectrum
Okay.
on this wine. We're split the difference.
All right.
there.
Okay. Well, you would be the person that would just mix them together to see how it works.
Oh, absolutely.
Not
I will make a rosé chili. Did you just dare me to make rosé chili? I will do so.
that with everything. So I will just keep them pure as they are. So I'm good.
Okay.
Okay. Next
Uh,
or stop.
Stop sharing, please.
Okay.
Well, time to take stock of what is in our glass this evening.
It's a nice blend.
So the blend on this is a GSM. That is a very common blend. And so to the point that it has its own term, right? A GSM. Grenache,
Mhm.
Syrah, Mourvèdre.
Okay.
All right. So,
So I had the G and the S, but not the M. I wasn't sure which one the M was.
there you go. And Mourvèdre, like you guys, but not common to get Mourvèdre on its own,
Okay.
other than in Spain, where it's
Okay.
called Monastrell,
Okay.
right? But when you can, I do enjoy it very much. Right? So,
Do we
right.
have them on the stroll in the store? In
Oh,
case
yeah.
we wanted to try.
Mhm.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What are the percentages?
All right, so this guy's 50% Grenache,
Okay.
40% Syrah, 10% Mourvèdre. Which interestingly, for this sub-region, because this is it's called the Vinsobres, but in true French style, that's because it's where it comes from.
Okay.
So Vinsobres Rouge means from Vinsobres, red blend.
Okay.
All right. And in this case, in Vinsobres, you're required to have 50% Grenache,
Okay.
25% minimum Syrah,
Mhm.
and then some Mourvèdre.
Okay. And that's the same as Garnacha, right?
Yes,
Grenache.
yes, Grenache and
And
Grenache.
then Syrah is the same as Shiraz.
Right.
Okay.
Yep. Actually, we're going to cover that.
And then you said that the Mourvèdre is the same as the
Monastrell.
Monastrell.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah, they all have double names, common double
At
names.
least they start with the same letter.
That is true. Alcohol content is actually a little above 15%.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Why, hello.
Yes, please.
Ripeness. Right? So let's take, take a sip. We're going to talk about age worthiness
Mhm.
before we move on.
So high alcohol content.
Mhm,
I feel tannins,
mhm, mhm.
little acidic.
Right.
So yes.
So yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
See, I've learned something over 2 years.
You have, and you are completely
It's
right.
very little, but.
So, like I said, plenty of tannins.
Mhm.
Wow, get my mouth working again.
Mhm.
Plenty of tannins, a freshness to the fruit.
Mhm.
There's certainly dark fruit, right? But there's a tang to it,
Mhm.
right? So you have some acidity left, and then high alcohol. So this one in easy tenure. Yeah,
That's what I was gonna guess.
yeah.
10.
Ready to drink now, but an
Mhm.
easy tenure.
Okay.
Very good. All right. Barrel aging on this.
Mm-hmm.
All right. This is kind of an interesting one.
Okay,
Now-
because I'm guessing though, like, since it's from France, that
Right.
they're using French oak.
Well,
Okay, that would be my guess.
yes,
So-
good call, right? So let's go through it real quick. So
Okay.
we're gonna smell it. Are you getting a bunch of vanilla jumping out of the glass? I would say no. I'm getting a lot of spiciness out of this.
Mhm.
On the palate, same thing. I would not call this vanilla. I wouldn't say there's any aspect of dill. So you can immediately throw out American oak.
Okay,
American oak being very aggressive,
yeah,
would give you that vanilla, and dill can kind of overpower your grape.
okay.
But honestly, I'm not getting much of toastiness either on the end. It's more mineral driven. So give it a sip. It's more of a mineral driven wine. When it comes to secondary, obviously plenty of fruit in this wine, but when you're finishing it off,
Toasty, you mean you're not getting smokiness? When you
not,
say
no, I'm not getting like a
toastiness?
toasty barrel
Okay, all right,
kind of quality.
okay.
There is no oak on this.
Really?
This is all cement.
Okay, I was gonna ask if it was cement or stainless then.
Yeah, yeah.
And I guess there are clay vessels too, right?
There are clay.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
So, but in this case, it's cement, which really drives that minerality.
okay, right.
And working there. So the spiciness in this case is not barrel driven. This is all grape driven spice.
okay.
So we get into a little bit about what we're smelling and tasting at this point. So we kind of ran through the background a bit. I'd say one of my favorite things from certain regions within the Southern Rhone is I'm getting like intense black cherry and a nice black licorice quality,
Yes.
which I love.
That's the smell I wasn't.
Right. So the region I think of as most famous for that black licorice quality, anise or star anise, if you want to go with the spice side of it, same flavors and aromas, would be Gigondas, but this one is right next to Gigondas, which we will see.
Okay,
And it picks up some of the similar qualities. So raspberries, black licorice, black pepper.
definitely.
Almost and I'd say there's a floral note, like a purpley flower, maybe lavender violet thing going on in there. Let it really run around your palate, which I realize.
With the taste or with the smell?
With the
floral.
taste, yeah.
Okay, because I was like, not getting it.
Yeah, I'd say on the nose, it's a little more, it's being a little stingy on the nose for me right now. But I would go almost like a black cherry and granite pebbles kind of thing, maybe graphite. Graphite's probably a better, like a black cherry graphite on the nose, but not a tremendous nose.
Yeah, I'm not even getting black cherry, but I'm sure other people are. So, how long has our bottle been open?
Our bottle's been open for 25 minutes.
Okay. All right. So I'm guessing other people may have evolved into other tastes as well.
Absolutely. All right. So all right. So now I ran through kind of what I'm thinking. Any thoughts on you guys? What are you guys tasting, smelling? The palate structure, what are you guys getting that you would like to discuss?
Jeff, you usually rattle off about 5 or 6 things, and of those 5 or 6, there's 4 that I don't agree with at all. But the flower I get.
Oh,
So
good.
I taste like the flowery taste to it. So I'm with you on that.
It's the only thing he agrees with you
That's it.
on tonight.
No, well, this time there were more than the
I know,
flower.
I was
That-
like,
that-
he
that's-
even points
that's it.
out, I'm your most argumentative person, so just so you know, here's the one thing I get.
Just a little bit of science there, it's fine.
Yeah, just giving you a hard time because we haven't been here for a while, so.
That's right.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Wait, who are you again?
exactly.
Yeah.
It starts with a B. I
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, welcome back with that attitude.
I'll just mute him next time.
I
He knows
know.
I'll just- yeah.
You're really gonna miss us, dude.
That's right.
When
Definitely.
when I popped it open, I smelled Grenache. I don't know how to define that, but I could tell we had a little Grenache going there.
Mhm.
And the tannins were pretty sharp compared to, mine's been open almost 45 minutes.
Mhm.
So it's really mellowed out and it's even more drinkable than it was with a steak.
Yeah, I mean, excellent. And I say, this is no shrinking violet, right? On the tannins, this is a burly wine. There's a lot going on here. And I would say the comment about it smells like Grenache, tastes like Grenache, because it does have that dominance of it. It's that red fruitiness in there, which I was waiting for somebody to say, hey, you didn't mention any red fruits, Jeff, you threw out black cherry and such. Grenache gives more of a spicy quality, which I was saying is fruit driven.
Right,
Spiciness and red fruit qualities are going to come from the Grenache,
Okay.
as well as some floral qualities, but they wouldn't normally be that purpley flower. But I
okay.
think that's the effect from the Mourvedre being so rich and dark,
Okay.
working with it.
So when you say the Grenache gives it a spicy quality, is that where we're getting the pepperiness from?
The pepperiness, probably from the Syrah, actually, the
Okay.
pepperiness.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I was actually wondering about that because I was also thinking, I was like, there's definitely a floral component that I can't quite put my finger on, but I definitely get the pepperiness. Like my first immediate thought when I took a sip of this was I was like, oh, this tastes like a Cab Franc in a way that you get some of that, like you get that pepperiness, you get that floral notes. But I think it's probably just the Syrah popping out or coming out of that, but maybe or like a spiced cherry or something like that.
yeah, I like that, like almost like a stewed mulled spice cherry
Okay,
kind of
yeah.
thing going on, yeah. But without it becoming like a dried cherry, without it becoming quite a prune, it's a very dark fruit without it being, to me, a dried fruit.
So you're saying it's not like a raisinated taste? is
Right,
it?
right.
Okay. Mhm,
But man, talking about a food wine, this guy's got some
Yeah.
tannin
mhm.
and a lot of different flavors to pair with things, so. All right, well, why don't we jump over to the slide and we'll cover the
label.
what if scenario, if you're wandering around a store and it's not Tipple's
Which
and no one's
means
helping you.
Gainesville.
That's right. All right, so it's kind of one of those things where we'll look at it. French labels can be a challenge,
Mhm.
and that is their style, right? So anyway, Chateau de Rouanne. Okay, there's a name for you. Vinsobres. For if you're just your average wine drinker, that is not going to tell you a lot. This really, the bottom line was many French wines is it's so much better to get some help, right?
Right.
Because you could be in there loving, you say, hey, look, I love GSMs.
Mhm,
This would be an amazing high-end GSM. This is fantastic
mhm.
compared to, some of the other ones that you can get around the world. Certainly going to give you a distinctive quality GSM and a high quality GSM, but you're not going to know. Right?
No,
No. You got your vintage on there. So
so they purposefully make it difficult?
no, it's historical. It's what they do, in France. Wine is named after the region it comes from.
Okay,
And then if you really want to know what you're drinking, you need to learn about that region.
I'm thinking if they're exporting it, they could just have like an American label that gives you, more info. This is a GSM. You put it on the back. You don't have to change it.
Now,
Okay.
this
let's look
guy
at that.
on the back, you
Okay.
can see the importer
Mhm,
stepped in.
right.
It's like, hey, guys, since we're bringing this wine over,
Mhm.
we'd like to sell some. Right. So they're jumping in. So if you go through on here, Chateau Rhone, Vinsobres in here, it actually does give you a really nice description in here of the site, which we will cover it in a minute anyway. And Old Vine, Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre. So you can see it's a GSM there. If you take the time to get past the front and look on the back, this one does have a lot more help than a lot of French wine labels would. Many of them, it would not be anywhere on, right? So I appreciate that. So anyway, and then, so there's, it could be a little confusing here. You say, bottled by you see another winery on here, like
Right.
St. Cosme.
Right.
It's because they own this winery, but this winery, everything is made there. It's grown there. It's made there.
Okay.
They're owned by Cosme. I actually
Mhm.
carry some of the things from St. Cosme. Amazing winemaker. So there's a winemaker directed. So he comes and
Okay.
dictates how things are going to be run. But it is still in a state.
Okay.
Right. So this is, but then again, once again, it's going to be a little bit more
It's gonna be a
difficult.
little more difficult without
Right.
help.
But they do give you a lot of specifics about what this estate is. So
Mhm.
that's really going to make me feel a little better about it.
So I know one of the ones that we've had previously, you mentioned, this is primarily a restaurant wine. And
Mhm.
so when you're getting it, it's, you're going to have help at a
Right.
restaurant, right?
True.
Is that true with this as well?
Largely, yeah,
Okay.
largely,
Okay.
that makes sense. It's not as much going to just be on the rack.
Okay.
It could be,
Mhm.
but, and if it was, it would be near Le Rack, also in the Southern Rhone. Boom.
Okay.
All
That
right,
was, sorry.
sorry. And wine jokes,
No joke. No,
wine dad jokes.
you don't get a laugh for that.
All
No
right,
laugh for
fine,
that.
fine, fair enough.
Sorry.
You know what? I bet Chris liked it. I'm just saying.
Oh.
I'll take either Chris.
Like throw names out.
That's right.
Hey.
Yeah, I just stare at him like, right, Chris? Back me up.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. All right, so label, that's what I would think about when I look at it. Next one, please. All right, Rhone GSM red blends, right? So here we are. Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre from the southeastern France. So the Rhone is in southeastern France. Actually, Syrah was developed. I mean, that comes from the southeastern France.
Mhm.
Grenache and Mourvedre, more of an argument about true origin on that between them
Okay.
and Spain. So we'll go with the one that we definitely know about, right? So the different grapes, Grenache, also called Garnacha in
Mhm.
Spain, add spice, alcohol because it ripens readily
Okay.
and in a good amount of time, and red fruit characters to the blend. Right. Syrah, called Shiraz in Australia and sometimes in South Africa, adds structure. So structure, what do we mean by that? Tannins and color
Okay.
and some mouthfeel, a little weight. They add pepperiness. It can add smokiness depending on the Syrah and how it's grown. In this case, not getting a ton of smoky,
Yeah.
getting more herbs.
Yeah. And
Right.
herbs and pepperiness for
Right.
sure.
And then Mourvedre, which is also called Monastrell in Spain and Mataro in Australia, because the Australians have to change every name except for Cabernet Sauvignon. So I don't know why.
I don't know. It would be very nice if across the world we could just call the grape the same thing. Although I know that like Syrah, French Syrah tastes differently than Australian, tastes different than Australian Syrah.
Sure,
does.
it does.
So it's the same grape, but you're gonna get different things from it.
It's true. It
So-
is a significantly different style with that same
Okay.
grape. So I get that. Well, that's why the South Africans call it Syrah and Shiraz,
Depending on what characteristics.
depending on what characteristics they're pulling.
It's interesting.
So if they're going with a little cooler growth, more like the French, they call it Syrah.
Okay.
They're going with a big, fat, juicy, warmer growth, they call it Shiraz. So the Matara, and then you get a lot of tannin and color from the Mourvedre. Along with, you can also get some savoriness
Okay.
from the Mourvedre. But they can be hard to ripen fully.
Hmm.
So sometimes with the Mourvedre, it can be minimally used because it can give a greenness to the
Okay.
wine. This is a cool area even within the Rhone,
Okay.
the Vinsobres region.
Mhm.
So it can be a little touch and go, right? You need to be careful with your use of Mourvedre in
Okay.
there. But in this case, I can see the tannins that it
Mhm.
adds to and the color
For sure.
is intensely inky. So,
Yeah.
yeah, clearly
Cannot see.
they
my
were
hand.
able to get there.
Mhm.
Mhm. Ooh, nice chocolatey note kind of coming out now. Giving me a little more time. Primary flavors, raspberry, blackberry, rosemary, so we'll go with the herby side. Baking spices, we've talked about plenty of them because star anise, whether you call it that or licorice,
Mhm.
is certainly a baking spice. Along with, you could go with some allspice
So is the lavender like that floral note? that we
and
were
there's the
talking
floral
about?
note. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's going to be right in that. So anytime I see it, that's in the zone of what we discussed.
Mhm,
And honestly, I did not memorize this ahead of time.
mhm.
I feel good about the lineup.
Yeah. We have some chat.
Hmm.
Okay, actually, we have two things. So earlier, Chris said give more like a cocktail mix spice cherry.
Mhm.
And then Rachel said, I think it has evolved. It has less bite and more fruit and flavor as it opens.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I can see that.
Mhm.
I mean, this,
And then Jerry wholeheartedly agrees.
awesome. I mean, this has some time left in this bottle. This
Mhm.
is not on the edge.
What, this is
This is
2019.
19,
Okay,
right?
so we're early in the
Right. It's
life cycle.
basically, we're at the beginning of the drinking life cycle for this
Mhm.
wine. So this year, because I'm glad we're on the backside of 2022.
Yeah.
It needed kind of every day to get there, but this would be a nice one to grab one and lay it down. It would, reward you in a bit. So.
Okay,
So medium to high tannins, it has them up there. I would definitely agree with that. Dryness, certainly. It's got big fruit,
Mhm.
so they don't put it at bone dry,
Mhm.
but it's a dry wine.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Full bodied, big tannins.
I mean, Brian would probably call it sweet, but other than him.
Oh, we're calling them out back. Clap back. Is that
Not,
still?
not sweet, not sweet.
Okay, okay.
And we're at the high end of the alcohol, right?
Yes,
Up to
we're
15%.
actually
We're a little over.
the high
So
end. Yes,
it's a bigger boy.
yes.
All right.
Ready?
Next one, please. All right, so where are we and where does it, so I was saying Syrah comes from southeastern France. Right along here with the mountainous region. So now Grenache
Mhm.
and Syrah and Mourvedre basically are all used here.
Okay,
Right, so they're really not used in other areas of France much at all. You're gonna get some of it down here in Languedoc and Provence when they're using some of these in making rosés and that type of thing.
Mhm.
Languedoc will make some taste-alikes.
okay.
They're less expensive, but they will use some of that here. But really, it's all southeastern France where these are used.
Why are they less expensive if they taste alike?
Oh, it's just doesn't have as much history in the region.
Okay,
Mhm.
so it's all about just the name.
It is,
the region.
and technically, I mean, you could argue it. I mean, they don't have the same terroir,
Okay,
and they're growing for a different reason too. I mean, traditionally, Languedoc, for the most part,
Mhm.
grows for volume.
okay,
So Languedoc, for the most part, historically,
right,
has been more of a table wine producer.
okay.
Right, rather than a little more high end.
So you say historically, are they changing?
They're
it?
changing bit by bit.
Okay,
Mhm. Yeah, well, the interesting thing is, it's one of the only regions in France that doesn't have all the rules that the other regions have. And I
oh,
always call it the Wild West of France.
right.
So some interesting things are coming out of the Languedoc. All right, grape anatomy. So we're dealing with a combination of skin thicknesses and intensities. The Mourvedre is going to have incredibly thick skin, very intense peripheral zone with all those tannins and color. Syrah will be close thereafter.
Okay,
And then the Grenache is going to be more medium skin.
okay.
Right.
Is that why it ripens faster?
Yeah, that is part of it.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, but all of them white fleshed,
Mhm.
dark, black skin grapes.
And we're getting the taste mostly from the skin for all of them?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mhm. And in the peripheral zone?
Right, and then in the intermediate where we're getting a little acid,
Mhm.
that's, largely you're gonna want some of that coming from maybe a bit of the less ripened Mourvedre, but really it's not a strong suit. It's gonna be more of the Grenache.
Okay,
But yeah, kind of across the board. I mean, Syrah could do it too. All right, so where are we? So we're in France, right about here in the middle of the northern latitude, wine growing latitude.
Yeah.
We're in the southeastern France here. So once again, just a different map. Here's the Northern Rhone, which is largely Syrah. Oh, not blends when they come to reds. Down here is where they blend. So. And we'll get in here. So this
this is the maps tasting. If you wanted maps, this is the.
Oh,
one
there's
that comes
plenty
to
of
mind.
maps. Oh, yeah. You gotta dig into France. They're very, very proud of their subsections. So, all right, so within the Southern Rhone. And it's just, I've got a better map to move in, but anyway, we're right. Oh, yeah. Here's the Rhone River, right?
Okay,
This is some of the, so Vaccaret, by the way, is on here. It is right here,
okay.
right next to Gigondas, one of my favorites, and right next to Chateauneuf-du-Pape,
Oh, yes.
the most famous subsection within Southern Rhone.
And the most fun to say.
Chateauneuf-du-Pape,
Mhm.
right? All right, so here we are, a little closer look here. So we've got Gigondas, we've got Vaccaret, you can see this little guy right here.
Mhm.
And then you have Chateauneuf, which is right along the river. So Chateauneuf gets a little riper, easier, because they're a little closer to the river, so they're more along they're in lower altitude, right?
Okay.
Where we are here is the entry level into the Alps. So what we have affecting our wines is altitude and minerality.
Okay.
And that's why they are different from the Chateauneuf. So, and you can see up here, it's still rolling hills as you go up into it. So Vinsobres, welcome to Hollywood, right? That kind of reminds me of what they do in Germany.
Oh, do they do that?
They do that
too?
in Germany, yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I like that.
So, and then you can see, look, lavender being grown right
Okay.
along. So wait a minute, are there purple flowery things? Yes, well, grapes do pick up what's
Okay,
around them.
I'm glad you pointed out that was lavender, because when I just like looked at it, it looked like asphalt, and I was, why
Oh.
are there like big patches of asphalt everywhere? But lavender, that
It's
makes sense. Okay,
Which they grow also in California.
they do,
Yeah.
they do. Remember we were looking at that property that had all that was back when we thought we were moving to California. There we
Right.
go. Mhm.
All right, so some great old medieval castles in this area. So Vinsobres appellation, by the way, as its own appellation, not established until 2006.
Oh, really?
Yep. Yeah, took them,
Wow.
that was when they were officially designated as being
Okay.
unique enough to deserve their own
Okay.
designation. Cool climate due to cool nightly winds blowing down from the Alps. And it is one of the coolest areas to grow grapes, and it's the latest finishing ripening in the Rhone.
Oh, really?
In the Southern
Okay.
Rhone, not so much the northern, but in the Southern Rhone area. So they really do have to have good seasons without that late rain to mess it up. Everyone else might have their harvest in,
Right.
and Vinsobres could be ruined,
Oh, wow.
right?
Yeah.
So it is a requirement here that you have at least 50% Grenache. They are kind of known as Grenache specialists,
Okay.
but at least 50% Grenache, 25% Syrah, and Mourvedre in some Mourvedre.
So when you're saying it's a requirement for each bottle to have that mixture, or the land that they're planting to be 50%?
Oh, good question. The percentages in your bottle.
Okay,
So you cannot label it as Vinsobres, you just have to call it French
okay,
if you did not hit the percentages correctly.
okay.
And they started about 1,000 feet above sea level. Go
Okay.
a little bit from there. So it's got the nice altitude going on.
It's just a little smidge higher than we are.
Yeah, right. Just a bit. All right. So they had a nice video. So I was like, that kind of makes it easy on me. And they will say it about themselves better than I will.
And this is when Jeff gets a chance to drink.
So the medieval castle there, which is on site, is from the 1100s.
Oh, wow.
And the name Rouanne comes from the original surname of the original Roman owner of the estate, which was Rugius.
Okay, wow.
So and the average age is over 50 years old for the vines in this vineyard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So when you showed us that picture, the pictures from California where they're trying to save the old vines, about how old are those?
Those guys, a lot of those are 75, pushing 100.
Oh, okay,
But,
okay, so still significantly.
Yeah,
older.
and they have some here. So that's the average.
Right, right.
Mhm.
I'd love
So-
to know the median age of them. Because average can be skewed by,
Sure.
outliers, but
Right.
yeah, that's cool.
This is a 16-part series. Buckle up. You can see the Alps right there. I mean, look at that.
That's so cool.
Oh, right. Those rocks are what make Chateau famous in the whole region.
It's the springs.
Yeah.
Looks like
There's the Cosme.
Okay, let me try and, there we go. Is that the next one, or did it go too far?
No, it didn't go too far. That is the
Okay,
next
I'll
one.
stop the share.
Sounds good.
And we have some chat to catch up with. Oh, people were trying to identify the song. Copeland, Chopin, relaxing, Beethoven. When Jeff started to introduce it, I thought we were watching an episode of Faulty Towers.
All right. So yeah, so the family for Saint Cosme, they found this and they brought it into the fold. The rocks that you saw
I
on
was
that
just
one
gonna
thing,
remind
yeah,
you.
that was one thing. So when you looked at the vineyards and you saw those kind of light colored stones around the base of the
The
vines,
vines.
that is that thing that brings quality to Chateauneuf de Pape. That is what it's known for.
Mhm.
But then you find it over in Larac, you find it over in Gigondas, and in obviously here in Vinsobres as well. So it's just that real rocky mineral driven terrain, quick drying when there is a rain. But you can see the aquifer is not too far down. I mean, you looked at that cellar going down into the spring.
Right.
So those roots are able to find the water they need
Mhm.
without getting inundated in it, and then becoming overly saturated.
Right.
So
if we didn't have our humidity, well, we're too warm still.
no, really not too warm. It's the
Really?
humidity. The
It's the
humidity is the
humidity.
problem in Florida that
Okay.
you cannot grow grapes. Yeah.
Because our
That's why.
aquifer is not too far down. I mean, when I was looking at it, I whispered to Jeff, I was like, that looks like our springs, like when you
Oh,
go,
right.
there. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's all about the humidity. Humidity sucks.
No,
Except
it's
for keeping
great.
you young.
It
yeah.
keeps you looking young. It's good for your skin. So there you go. Every time he complains about the humidity, I'm like, no, look how youthful we all look.
I'm just saying I might make the trade.
I would not. You can move. I'll live here. All right.
All right, so,
Do you want to talk about this before we move on to ratings? Like.
yeah, any,
other questions?
that's the show, by the way.
That's the
That,
show.
there was not like, when there was information about the winery, but the winery is so small
Mhm.
and kind of remote that there really isn't, it doesn't really have its own website that I found readily.
Really?
Yeah. It's,
Okay.
so that was part of the reason, like, oh, I found this video because it was made by Saint Cosme, who owns them now, to just, talk about, basically, they think of them as one of their vineyards.
Okay,
So,
rather than its own winery.
right.
So, do you know how many bottles of this are imported to the US?
Well, there's only 177 acres in the entire estate,
Oh, wow.
so not going to be a ton.
So questions, comments, pairings.
Mhm. That's right. All right, Dial Smith Dials, what did you eat with it?
They said you don't have to keep doing that. He just likes.
Oh, wait, we have a new name though, don't
You,
we?
you didn't have to, whoa,
Oh, we did.
What is their new
Sorry.
name?
I can't remember.
great,
Ah,
that's
great, never mind.
good.
So, I know,
Um,
it was a new name and I was proud of it too, and I do not remember.
That's for the best.
Yeah.
we had sweet potato, kale, black bean enchiladas,
Ooh,
And
that's-
and it went well with it, so.
Yeah, good.
yeah.
Was it the Smiles?
I think so.
SMY, right?
Yeah,
so.
probably.
The
Did
Smiles?
you pay attention to
That's-
what they had for dinner, by the way?
That's not as good though, so I like Dial Smith Dial better. Let's stick with that one.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Any other interesting
sorry.
pairings?
Yeah, I was still thinking about what I forgot.
Enchilada.
That's
Julie made an epic charcuterie tray, so. Of
What?
course, all the pairings were great, and I wanted to clarify my comment from before, Jeff, you do spit out about 5 or 6 things. And each one I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe, but there's always one that jumps out, so I chose the flower, so I just wanted to throw it out there.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Brian.
Brian.
Right.
But while we're validating ourselves, please tell me someone else here has seen Faulty Towers, because Brian's like, no one else here knows what you're talking about, is everyone's making fun of you. So,
Okay, no,
okay,
they've seen
thank
it.
you,
One
Jerry.
person, Jerry. all
Jerry,
right.
that's fine. I want to be
No,
Jerry.
and
No,
then
Thank
Laura's
you,
Laura's seen it.
Laura, thank you.
Okay.
Laura knows. Okay. He's like, Julie, no one knows what you're talking about. I'm like, well, they're missing out. Faulty Towers is amazing.
I
So,
mean, clearly I need to watch that. then.
Yeah.
it's an older British comedy.
I would say thank you for pointing out that I'm older.
Hi, I'm the one who made the reference. So join the club.
I saw it as a child.
I
know
said,
of it,
Jerry,
I've
you're
never
no
watched.
longer my favorite.
Yeah, I don't know if that's good or not.
And then let's see, John made shrimp scampi.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
awesome. And what did you make, Kiwi?
I just was alive today.
She enjoyed.
That's right.
She enjoyed the shrimp scampi, and yes.
It was really good. I had 2 plates full and I
And
don't
it worked well with your wine?
either, yep.
Hey, whatever you like. That's
Whatever
what
you like.
I, as most of you know, will drink a red with literally anything I'm eating. So unless Jeff forces me to.
Hey, look,
And
I
then
am never,
it's the pairing, but
but
yeah.
yeah, exactly. No, pairings are like, that's like a yes and kind of thing. But not necessarily, I mean, I'll drink a great red with Cheerios. I don't care. You know? If I had to, sure.
Yeah, you go bowl of Cheerios, or
Or
like.
some Merlot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I wouldn't put the wine on them. I'm just saying I might have a bite of Cheerios.
I think you should
drink
just
the
like
wine.
mix it all in. Stuff like
I
that.
mean, I think I'm very odd that I eat my cereal with orange juice. So I don't know if I do it with Merlot.
Okay, so that's one thing she will
Yep.
not pair.
Well, there we go.
with-
And
Pair
it-
cereal with Merlot, see?
it is reasonable because, yeah, I was. That's right.
Any
Alright.
other questions, comments? Anything? Okay, I think that's sufficient wait time.
I think we're good.
Think we can move
All
on
right, let's move on
Okay.
to my
to
my
your
speech about ratings,
explanation.
right?
Yes.
Ratings such that they are suggestions. They're the-
Take them or leave them.
Exactly. They're the beginning of a conversation. They are not the end of a conversation. So we have this guy listed in with a couple of outstanding, right? They put it in the outstanding superior character and style category. Don't worry about whether it was a 93 or a 91 or a 90, like they put it up in the outstanding group. Okay, that could be, that's fine. Less used than it probably should be is the 80s category, right?
Mhm.
Where it's like, hey, that's a very good wine with special qualities. That's good stuff. The truthful, or not the truthful, the subjective effect of what happens in wine, we've talked about this, actually, we'll go into a little bit too, is that you don't see a lot of 80s, especially below 88, though 88 would be at the very top of a very good wine, right? So people use an 88. But if people get an 85 or an 84, they consider that to be a failure rather than, even though it's a good, solid, well-made wine, right? It's not the reality of how it's accepted in the industry. So just, I like to always point that out there. But Elizabeth pointed out the other day that one of the reasons for skewing up is most likely because people pay to have them reviewed. And if you pay to have a wine reviewed, you already know you made a good wine.
Right.
You're not going to pay someone to review something that you have no idea whether it was good or not. And so the ones that get reviews, the winemaker already knew that it was good. So
Right.
we tend to get this big cluster of 90s, right? A big cluster of 88 to 91s.
Mhm.
And then kind of it strains out from there. But it's good to kind of look at it and say, all right, well, that doesn't just throw it, don't throw it all out, out and ignore it. It's
Right.
the beginning of a conversation point.
Yes.
So,
If it were required that every wine were rated, then you should see a bell curve.
right.
But because that's not true, certain things that are maybe $2 Charles are not rated. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're submitting it, you think it's
Right.
worth being submitted to get a good score because
Right.
you're paying for that.
So,
Absolutely.
Bearing that in mind, did this wine stand out to you in some ways? Do you think, yeah, that was a good wine. I'm glad I had it.
Mhm.
Did you think, I'm not very glad I had it? Or did you think, wow, that was really cool. That was a little different from what I've had before. It's going to stand out in my memory. Those are wonderful points. Well made, or was it flawed? All right. So you guys throw something up there before.
Okay, I think everybody's already done that.
Yeah, it
So
looked
I'm
like
gonna
it.
stop the share a moment and go back in the chat. We have, okay,
All right.
so Cheryl Montrell, 89, Brian, 94.
Nice.
Julie, she's
Shock.
in shock that Brian gave it a 94. She gave it a 93.9.
Oh, right.
Okay, just a tenth of a percentage.
Right. Just
lower.
playing a little
There we
hard to
go.
get there.
Yep, okay, Consuelo 91, Jerry 94, 88 from both Laura and Brenda, 89 from Kristen Robin,
Hmm.
Brian's DD, is that Brian's
Designated
dear?
driver.
No, not designated driver, they're all there, I think it's
Oh.
just dad. Okay,
There you
88,
go. Yeah, his dad.
okay,
Okay.
Brian's mom, not sweet enough.
Right.
Okay, and then Chris Montrell is not rating this week, it's too young for him. The
Yeah.
tans are overpowering everything. Okay, yeah.
Yep.
And then Kiwi 86, Rachel 90. This is, I think, the biggest skew we've ever had.
Mhm.
Like, okay, Chris likes but doesn't love it.
Mhm.
Thinks this is a really solid, versatile, drinkable, like it way more at the start
Right.
when it was more peppery. Okay. Too smooth now from Rachel as it opened up. Okay, and then either Laura or Brenda, probably Laura, I guess, because I think she controls the keyboard. I agree with Chris. Think it will be better in a couple of years. Would like it more with meat from Kiwi.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. And then David, better with blueberries and strawberries than with steak.
All right.
Julie loves how big this is.
Yeah.
Where is Linda when I need her? Yeah. And then, yeah, she's playing Price is Right rules. I don't know what that means. But Price is Right rules?
No, like you don't want to go over. So if one person says a 94 and the other person's like, I'm gonna give it a 93.9. It's like,
Oh, right.
Okay, all right.
I like it.
Yeah, and always because Bob Barker rules. I mean, he loves dogs and raises a lot of money for them. So
That's right.
so
Spay
there you
neuter
go.
your pets.
Yep, exactly. Oh, you remember the tagline?
Oh, yeah.
Was that there? That was like the only thing during playing on daytime TV in Yankee Town was The Price is Right, probably.
Oh, probably.
When you were home from school.
Probably.
Yeah.
So there you go. So your thoughts?
I would have done a 93.
Cool.
I think it's
Yeah,
great.
no, if you like a big grippy one, and I understand it's going to mellow over time,
Mhm.
but there are a lot of people that really enjoy that big early grip.
Yeah.
And especially with a nice piece of red meat.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I'm all about it for those people. I totally get it.
Yeah.
If you're saying to me, I get where this is going to go,
Mhm.
and it's showing all signs of excellence.
Yeah.
And in a few years, I do want to drink this wine again. I want to give it another 5 years.
So what you're saying is
So-
grab another bottle, lay it down for 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, 5 to 8 more years, I'm excited to try this wine one more time. I like it now.
Mhm.
I like the grip. I don't mind drinking a wine a little in its enthusiastic youth,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
It ends up being what you drink a lot of times with Napa Valley cabs, so I've gotten used to it
Sure.
because people pop them young.
Mhm.
And so I just think I think it's got the whole spectrum
Yeah.
to offer as benefits.
Yeah, Julie and I are together on this one, but we like the same wines.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely.
big fruit, nice spice, good dryness, even though it's got big fruit
Mhm.
and great grip, no doubt. Plenty of grip.
So I have a question. If you do grab a bottle and you want to lay it down for 5 years,
Mhm.
right? So I see, is it like, you know how you have the things for watches that turn them? Do you need to turn it, or is that just, nah,
It's optimal,
okay,
to give it a turn once a quarter or something,
Okay.
so you change but honestly, if it's laying down, you've got full contact with the cork,
okay.
with the liquid, there's not going to be a bubble.
Well, that's what I was wondering,
Yeah.
if it was just something to make it, oh, you have to turn it so it's fancier, or does it actually matter?
Not that,
Not that much,
yeah,
okay.
it really,
Oh, so it's an 80-20 thing.
yeah, it's beyond that, it's
Okay.
it's
It's
a
95.
it's a 98.9
Okay. All right.
versus 1.1
Mhm.
thing. As long as it's laying down, you're good,
Why does it have to be laying down?
because you want contact to keep the cork moist.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what if it's not a natural cork,
Mhm.
still laying down? And are there any Stelvin enclosures that age?
All right,
Stelvin is screw top.
it's still argued, but I have seen several things saying that Stelvin enclosures still age. In that case, it could be upright. It doesn't matter. It's not allowing an exchange of oxygen
Okay,
at all. It's the oxygen that's in the bottle slowly changing the wine.
okay.
So as far as synthetic corks,
Mhm.
there are a couple of different kinds, so it can kind of change things a little bit.
Okay.
Not going to be as necessary to keep it moist because it
Mhm.
is a synthetic
Is it
product.
changing at all?
Yeah,
with the
yeah, they
synthetic?
do, they do.
Okay.
And there are some that exchange better than others,
Okay,
that are really made, they do a great job.
they're made to breathe.
They're made to breathe,
Okay.
just a touch.
Okay.
Give them, a natural evolution of the wine.
Okay, Julie does not like the word MOIST, so I won't say it again for you. That's my gift to you,
No.
even though you've been gone. Yes,
I'm about to
No.
go on a 5 minutes.
but it's a shame that you told him that. And then they started their second bottle. There are 4 of you, so it's been open over an hour and they love it even more.
Oh, fantastic,
So,
yeah. Well, to Chris's point too, with it being a little younger, yeah, every minute it's open, the better it's going to get. But
I think he went the reverse.
Yeah.
He liked it better when it was wound up more, and then he said, or no, it was
No,
Robin.
that was-
Robin said it was too smooth.
it was,
right?
no, it was not Robin, it was
it not?
it was Rachel,
Was it?
yeah. it was
Okay.
Rachel.
No, it was me. It was,
It was both of you.
oh,
Both
Oh,
of you agreed.
okay.
There's a quorum.
All right,
yes.
there we go. So,
Yeah, this one
I
has
don't
been
know.
opened
I'm-
a little, we opened them both thinking we would drink them faster, but it was so big, we drank it slower.
Mhm.
And so we opened them both a little bit before 8. So now it's been a little over an hour probably since we opened it, but then just now started to pour it with an aerator too. So
Oh.
open for an hour with an aerator. I mean, the first sip is like drastically different than the last bottle. Like,
Okay.
So is
So
there not
much
so much of a
fruitier.
bite?
What?
Is there not as much as a bite as
No.
you would
No.
first get?
so
See,
much more fruit forward, like.
I'm really
distinctly a
excited
Different bottle of wine.
Yeah. John opened it because I was teaching and he opened it. And so I was expecting, because I was told it was a big wine, that I was able to actually enjoy my first sip. And I've had this like tag team with Rachel now, that her and I there's something about something in the wines that will make us like immediately not feel good about it. And I didn't have this on this, and I immediately messaged her. I was like, "You can drink this wine," and I didn't know if it was because it was open or it was because I had, just it was a good wine. So that was
Yeah.
cool.
And I wonder if you're becoming more sensitive to sulfites.
Extremely. I think it's horrific. It's not fun at all. But like that doesn't need to be reported because I'm like, it really makes me really sad.
Remember, sulfites are really a red herring.
Oh, sorry, it's not the sulfites, it's the histamines.
Right.
Yes,
Mhm.
sorry.
Yeah, because it'll hit whatever Augie's wine yesterday, like hit my ear, and I I kept twitching my left eye. I had one glass of that. I was like, and I can't drink this. Whatever that was. Which I'm worried, was it this bottle?
It was this bottle.
Oh, cool. See you guys later.
It's also, we're filming in Florida and it's ragweed season, which is like a whole different game than a lot of other
Yeah.
wines.
You know what? Forgive me. Augie's wine yesterday did not bother me. So this wine, it was in the airport in North Carolina. I had a Pinot and it just hit me the wrong way. Like my ear, my entire face went all red.
Interesting.
I mean,
You know,
it sounds like
it-
high histamine, right?
It does, but here's what it could also be, because you're talking about, if you happen to be, let's say your body's already been exposed to something that's histamine reactive that day, right? And went past a ragweed field. So
Okay,
your body's not reacting, but it's
already-
already kind of on the edge, and then you drink some wine on that day.
Mhm.
It may have nothing to do with the wine, it may have everything to do with the environment you've been around that day. But
So it's
you
just
know,
one more thing, and
it's-
that's
yeah,
the
and it could
straw
put
that-
you over there. I mean,
Camel's
there's no
back.
doubt wine does have histamine in it,
Mhm.
right? Can cause a histamine reaction.
Mhm.
Is like, the sulfites have taken the bad rap for it, and
Mhm.
things are beginning to change in the discussion.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. All right, and then I think this is Robin, likes the wine better when it's peppery. Is that right? No, that's Chris?
It's both.
It's
It's
both.
both of us, but he tapped it, so, yeah.
Oh, wait, sorry, okay, then the new ones, and is it just red wine or all wines, whites too, that have histamines?
mostly reds. The whites
Okay.
do have significantly less histamine.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, so if you knew that you had a histamine reaction, you should probably stick
Right.
with the whites.
Because they both have sulfites,
Mhm.
right? Though white's a little lower
Mhm.
as well. They also have lower histamine.
Okay.
Yeah, so production.
I've never had issues with white wines. It's always just been reds. And that's only actually been in the past 3 years. Which is
Yeah.
very interesting.
It makes
but,
sense for this histamine reaction that it would be.
Yeah.
Make it
Right.
build up. Mhm.
Yeah, and regular old allergy medication does help minimize it. I mean, I knew a rep that was, I mean, her nose would completely become blocked
Mhm.
with one sip of red wine.
Really?
But she took a
Like a Zyrtec.
Zyrtec or something every morning, and then she could do her job and, sip throughout the day and
Yeah.
never had a problem. But if she forgot it, instantly stuffed up.
That's
So
interesting.
some people are much more reactive to it.
Sure.
Mhm.
You ready to tell us about next week?
Next week, where are we going? Mhm. Oh, first we have to thank our sources.
Oh, we do. Sorry.
That's right. Housekeeping?
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much, as always, to winefolly.com. They are amazing. 750.com, Wikipedia, wine.com, wine42.com.sg.
Okay.
Grape Collective, Trip Advisor, and Wine Spectator for all of your photos and information, for bringing this whole thing together. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
And so next week, we are headed to Mendoza. We are going to go Malbec. We have not done Malbec in quite a bit.
That's the enigma
The
Enemigo?
enemigo.
and what is that?
Enemigo.
What is enemigo?
The enemy.
Is it the enemy? I was,
It
okay,
is,
that was my
yes.
first guess.
That's right.
Okay.
We're going to confront the enemigo.
That makes sense because amigo is friend. All
Right.
right.
All right.
Malbec.
So Malbec, some really baller ratings. You'll see why I chose this. And now I
I'm
finally.
just wondering, baller. I don't think people use that anymore.
Fair
You're
enough.
stating yourself,
I'm
sweetie.
going to have to get rid of some terms.
There are some
right?
things you have to throw out.
Some, well,
Robin's
I don't
like,
think it,
no one uses baller, Jeff.
right. I don't think it probably, when I put up good ratings every week, and I understand if you're with me every week, you're like, oh, what a shocker. Jeff chose a wine with good ratings. But I drink the wines first, all right? It's a,
That is true.
This is true. So just to kind of support my choice, there we go. Once again, as a point of reference, some excellent ratings. Food pairings for this guy: skirt steak with balsamic and soy glaze, lengua tacos with chimichurri sauce, duck cassoulet, mushrooms and black bean chili.
Okay.
Right, so you can go a little spicy, you can go, want to go with a little lighter meat, rather than a big fatty steak,
Okay.
on this, because it
So
is
like
Malbec,
A
but
fillet would work with this?
a fillet you could totally do.
Okay.
That's why I went with skirt steak, something a little lower
Yeah,
fat,
yeah.
steak. So
All right.
there it is, El Enemigo.
Sounds good. All right, let's stop the share and look at, okay, people are very excited. It's not white wine. See, Jerry
Not yet.
was worried. I thought maybe it was white wine week, but no.
Nope, 4-1.
Yeah, but it's not like every fourth. You kind of
I try to make it every fourth.
exactly every fourth?
I try to make it
Do
exactly
not
every
make it
fourth.
exactly every fourth, because if you make it exactly every fourth, we're gonna suddenly have everybody not come on the.
Oh, you poor misguided citizens.
You
Well, white wine is beautiful too.
have to pair it, like, you pair it well.
Yeah.
Like the shrimp scampi would be very good for white.
Well, how
wine.
cool was that Viognier that we all enjoyed?
But yes.
I say we all loosely, Ryan. He would have loved that wine.
He would have, and we all commented on how he should have been there.
He did. I know. That's literally on the recording. I'm going to post it and you can see.
You're going to post it?
Yeah, right. All right. In the
But did you
meantime,
save him a bottle?
yeah, we have some.
All right, yeah.
Okay,
You,
Chris prefers white French wines to red French wines. Really?
That's intriguing.
That is shocking.
Specifically French. I think Italian and Spanish reds love, and I like a lot of French reds, but I think I've really come around on a lot of like French Chardonnays, white Burgundies, stuff like that. Viognier, I guess is kind of, but like I really love those.
So if you want to make Chris happy, you pick a white French when we go to white.
That's right.
And if he doesn't, know that he's just not a fan, Chris, sorry.
It's a personal slight against me specifically.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's right. It's
exactly.
done. Especially, you know what? I'm just going so far south of that for my next one. I don't know what it's gonna be.
It's actually this is going to be the oakiest, butteryest Chardonnay possible. Sorry, Chris.
Then I will not be here for that. There's a reason that is not chosen.
No, it's not that.
you said the word white wine, and my mom was like, yes, and I was like, yep, that's where I get it. Yeah, I was like, yes.
Sorry, I don't like white
wine.
No, I think we have at least one more week, if not two, before the next one.
Okay, all right.
All right.
And David likes white Bordeaux.
Otherwise known as Chardonnay. Dun, dun, dun.
No, he disagrees vehemently.
Yeah. All right.
But
Let's have a toast to
it's from
this.
Tipple's too. Donna has the German white that you picked out for her last night, Jeff.
Yes,
Oh,
good
excellent.
selection.
Yeah,
Yes.
good,
She's
I'm
very
glad you
happy.
liked it.
very good.
We just
You
had
know
to
what?
cut her out because she's,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
not really a team player.
You know what? Sweet wine is wine. Sweet wine is good wine. In fact,
Yeah.
when it's made to be that way, I'm perfectly in support of sweeter wines. Jerry has really enlightened me into the power of
Yes.
wonderful Mosel wines. So
Yep.
there we go. All right,
Ready?
we will toast to this one and then we can gab all we want after the recording.
Cheers, everyone.
Thank you,
Thanks for
guys.
coming.